Yo, what's happening, friendly ghost friendlies and non-friendlies? How's everybody doing? We are back today with Justice League Task Manager or Task Force on the Sega Genesis. I was looking around, shopping around, looking for fighting games to play. The characters looked pretty cool. I like the speed of the game from what I saw videos of, and I wanted to try it out. So I did, and looks are very deceiving. Let's just say that. So I was trying to play and figure out how to play it, with a couple characters. Then I tried Superman, and I realized something. I realized this dude has a pretty fast, light jab. And so I just went on and I just kept pressing the button. I said, let me keep pressing that button. And I was on the hardest difficulty, and I never lost. Superman has a 1 frame jab. It does so much damage. It has so much reach. It punishes you for hitting him. Long and short of it, I don't think this is a good game. On Sega Genesis, I dare say the game sucks. I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers, but if your feathers do get ruffled, then perhaps it is just better off to be bald instead. Who needs feathers? Just shave the whole thing off. But I gotta keep it a buck. This game sucks. This game sucks, in my opinion. But we're gonna talk about something even more interesting. I've been seeing some reviews after playing the Genesis version. I just looked around. I was like, I'm gonna hit the OST, and I saw that there was a Super Nintendo, right? So I checked out the Super Nintendo and I copped that one up real quick. Tried it out, played it. I said, I'm gonna just do the same strategy, and this shit's gonna work. I'm just gonna jab with Superman. That shit did not work. It did not work. And I was seeing reviews, people reviewing both games, and they don't sound like they're fighting game players, anything like that. But no harm, no foul to them. But when people try to see fighting games and understand the taste of whether you want to play it or not, I figure it's better to get somebody perspective of somebody who does play fighting games. So I'm gonna give it to y'all real quick. They were saying in a lot of reviews that I've seen that the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo versions of this game are pretty much the same. Pretty much the same game, gameplay wise, fighting wise, same moves, Street Fighter like, yada yada yada. It's not that good. Right, that's what they were saying. Not that good. Street Fighter clone, pretty much the same game on both sides. But on the Genesis, you have more moves. Let me break that part down real quick. Starting off with, these games are nothing alike at all. Not the same moves, not the same feel. The movement of your characters is not the same. And obviously the jabs, the normals, those are completely different. Nobody has a 1 frame jab from what I've played. So just that off the rip makes it an entirely different game. And people who don't really play fighting games may not be able to pick up on things like that. So they'll be like, oh yeah, it looks the same, it's kind of the same, it's the same game, but one just looks a little prettier. That's not the case at all. I would dare say the Super Nintendo version of Justice League Task Manager is a pretty competent and decent fighting game. It's pretty decent, right? It's pretty solid. I have some nitpicks about it that we'll talk about, but it's a pretty solid experience. I like the way it sounds. When you hit something, it feels good. The feedback of hitting something feels pretty good, right? Moving your character around feels pretty good. Everything feels pretty solid. When you play the Genesis version, moves are pretty sluggish and slow, and you just really don't need to press anything other than jab. Superman has a 1 frame jab. He literally cannot lose if played correctly. I just played him without knowing any of his moves, and I didn't lose a match. The differences between the Sega Genesis version and the Super Nintendo versions of Justice League Task Force is night and day apart. There is not the same normals, the special moves are different, the properties are different. The angles that they cover are different. The utilities are different. The screen space feels different. The movement back and forth is different. The pace of the game is different. The block stun is different. Jumping is different. You know, if you go down the entire list where every single thing is different, they're nothing alike. You know, it is what it is. I just want to give that little service announcement. Both of these games are completely different games. They might as well be titled differently because they have nothing in common. That said, yeah, the Genesis version I think is trash. I don't think it's worth playing. It's completely broken. Who wants to play a game when you could just win with the Superman jabbing? And that's pretty much the meta right there. The meta is right there in the first 3 seconds of turning the game on, and it's unbeatable. It took a while for me to realize, okay, this is a different mindset I have to have coming into the Super Nintendo version. Whereas on the Genesis version, normals rule the game. You don't really need anything other than your jabs or lights. In the Super Nintendo version, special moves rule the game. So you actually have to rely on your special moves to get anywhere. And that is a huge difference right there in how you approach the game. So I can't just jab somebody out. I don't think it's a game you could just beat out with footsies. I think footsies are pretty much non-existent because characters are pretty fast and a lot of characters have moves that cover full screen. I picked Wonder Woman. She doesn't have a fireball. She has a reflect fireball. She has a dive kick. She has a float stance that goes into a dive kick. She has an approaching kick. Has a lot of startup on it, but it seems pretty safe. Maybe even be a bit plus. She has a good crouching medium, and that's pretty. She has a roping move. You know, she lassos you, pulls you in, and does like a couple of hits depending on the strength of the move that you throw out. Okay, yeah, the computer's input reads you like hell, so they'll always duck it. I played it on the hardest difficulty, and it is night and day harder than the Genesis version because the computer's cheap. Maybe it's just the way the game is where you get knock somebody down and you have a lot of invulnerability, and so if you're knocked down, you actually have grab priority over the opponent. That's kind of what it felt like. And I want to say it's both ways, but it feels like the computers just get it a little bit more. Computers also have a bigger grab range, but also depending on the difficulty. I guess I only played it on the hardest, so I don't really know, but from seeing some footage, I say that the harder the difficulty, the more damage that the computers do. So you are not doing equivalent damage with each other, even if you have the same character. Also, they stun you quicker. I don't know if it's depending on difficulty, but I played it on the hardest, and they will stun you after one special move. Some characters, sometimes 2 special moves. They stun you so much quicker. They do so much more damage, and it seems like they are just, they have more range and priority over you in a lot of grab scenarios and yada 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 yada. You know, they're pretty cheap. They're pretty aggressive. It's pretty bullshit, but that didn't stop me because I felt good. I felt like I wanted to learn how to overcome this, so I kept at it. Wonder Woman, I kept at it. I figured it out. Like, okay, I can't jab this. I can't just use normals to dominate. I can't dominate this game by just doing normals and trying to play footsies. I have to be a deviant. I have to rely on special moves. That is how you play this game. And then once you start relying on a majority special move mentality, then you start mixing in some normals and you start mixing in stuff in that way. And then it all comes together, and then you can start getting the rhythm of how the game is played. So that was the biggest learning curve that I had to go through. However, there was also one more thing I wanted to say. Again, I played as Wonder Woman the whole time. I feel like she's pretty strong. She's pretty good, pretty solid overall. She doesn't seem like a bad pick for the majority of the roster. However, there's this character in the game called Cheetah. Cheetah is a slimy bastard. Cheetah is a slimy bastard. And she has these specials that go full screen on the ground. She has specials that go full screen through the air at an angle. Ground to the air, an anti-air full screen at an angle. She has another one. She has a Shoryuken basically. But back to the full screens. Not only do they go full screen and there's chip damage, but after she hits you or you block it, she then goes back full screen and Wonder Woman does not have a fireball. But also one of her full screens on the ground it also comes out damn near instantly. You cannot react to it at all. You also can't interrupt it. There's no way you can interrupt it. It has too much priority. It'll just eat out anything you do for the most part. One of those, as you're trying to like steadily approach, block, you don't want to get too close because then she'll start like sweeping or whatever. So you're like approaching, crouch block, approach down block, approach crouch block. One of those full screens is a overhead. So you can't crouch block. So you're trying to approach and it has a lot of pushback on as well. So you're approaching, sees full screen attacking you, it pushes you back, a lot of push block, shipping you out, and then she returns full screen. And now you're both back at full screen, you're Wonder Woman, you have no fireball. You can't approach. You try to jump, she does it in the air, and it snipes you out the air. Nothing you can do, knocks you back to full screen. You try get close again, so you just does the ground version again and again and again. You have to stand block, so you're just getting chipped the whole time. Just getting chipped. You're not making any progress on the screen. You say, okay, well, I'm gonna make some good jumps now. You start making some good jumps now, right? You get close enough where you feel like you can jump over the full screen shenanigans. You really can't, but you can kind of time it in a way that you can use Wonder Woman's heavy kick to beat it out. It has to be very, very precise, and it's really just a game of chance at that point. But even if you beat both of those full screen maneuvers that she has, she then has a Shoryuken close to the chest. So it's like, well, shit, what do I do? What do I do at this point? What the fuck do I do? So, what I'm trying to say is Wonder Woman, or rather Cheetah versus Wonder Woman, is a 10-0 matchup. And I think, I think this is honestly just a straight up 10-0 matchup. There's no way to win if somebody knows how to play as Cheetah, which you just need to know those 3 moves. There's no way to win. You can't counter it. You can't check the full screen neutral skips, and it's not really a neutral. I don't know if it's a neutral skip because he returns full screen. I guess it is a neutral skip. You can't check her neutral skips. It chips you out, brings her back full screen. You can't punish it. You can't crouch block it because then you're just getting hit straight up. See, also the computer was able to stun me just by hitting 2 of those. For every 2 of those that she landed, I was stunned. And I'm sure that's just computer shenanigans, but it tells me that there's a lot of stun a lot of stun properties to those full screen attacks. That's just what that tells me. So how does Wonder Woman win against Cheetah? How does it happen? I don't think it can happen. I don't think it's possible. I do not think Wonder Woman can beat Cheetah. Ever. 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 In competitive play. I don't see a way possible that it can happen. There's nothing Wonder Woman can do that can approach. Wonder Woman's specials have no invulnerability, so if you try to do her neutral skip, it loses to Cheetah's neutral skip. You try to jump over it, it loses to Cheetah's anti-air neutral skip. You try to approach and block it, you never get close because you're always getting pushed back and shipped at the same time. You lose the health lead and you'll just probably get timed out if you just continue that way. So it's like, I don't know. I was able to win because computers are dumb. And they did the one move, a grounded full screen one that you can punish. And they just kept doing the one that I can punish instead of the ones that I couldn't. So yeah, that's how I was able to win. But I don't think there's a way to win in any other circumstance for Wonder Woman. But aside from that, I think this is a pretty decent game. So I just want to leave it at that. Leave y'all with these matches. Let me know what y'all think. And yeah, so take a look at it. There's a very humongous difference between both console versions of Justice League. So when you look at reviews and you're just looking for a fighting game, look a little bit deeper, feel it out for yourself. Trust me, if you play fighting games, there is a world of difference between them. They may share some concepts, but when it comes down to playing the game, feeling how it feels, and maneuvering, performing, and winning, what you do is completely different. So I just want to say that, and also say that the Super Nintendo version is pretty decent. The Genesis version is pretty broken, and it's I don't think it's worth playing. But let me know what y'all think. There's also one more Sega Genesis game that I was trying out, and I thought it was pretty cool. I think it's better than both of these games. I'm not going to say which game it is, but it was a game that I was not expecting to exist because I played previous games of the same franchise and I did not think that they were very excellent. And here I am playing another one, and I think it is possibly the best iteration yet. Talk more on that in the future. Now, take a look at these matches. Let me know what y'all think. What do y'all think of these games? I think it's pretty alright, you know. I think it's pretty alright. Right? I wouldn't have played it for as long as I did if I didn't like the Super Nintendo version. I think it's pretty decent, you know. But there is a horrendous matchup for Wonder Woman. This shit is not even fair. Catch y'all later on the flip side. May peace be with always. Keep your heads up, deuces, dos, boats, adios, stay cool. If you like this content, be sure to show some love. But always be sure to show that love to the people who matter to you. It's ITOwl bidding you forever peace, much love, and stay cool. Deuces.
out of the ring. The grueling battle ends with the victory of Taki. You win.